Mary Poppins, y'all.
Was he cool? Yes, he was.
This movie's great. 3-word review. This movie's great.
I'm having a beer because honestly, this is a beer kind of movie. I can't. I don't know why afterwards. I'm just like, because it's late now. We saw like an evening show, so I'm just like, I don't know. I just want a beer now. Like, just chill, come off that kind of high.
Man. So good. I guess. We should clarify what we thought of the first film. I know you really loved it. Like you said.
It's still one of my favorite movies that I've seen in like a decade.
See, and I liked it. I thought it was good. I thought it was fun. But I feel I didn't quite get into it as everyone else. I really got into this one.
See, that's funny.
Yeah, you like the first one better?
Yeah, this one was still good. But to me, it's we're splitting hairs. Like
I know. Yeah,
I feel like if to me the first one was an A movie, then this one's like it's like a B+, B. Like
see, to me it's sweet. You know what I like?
I think my wife was the same way. We were talking about it on the way back, and she liked this one better. And I will say this: I think this one had more character. Like they try to flesh out these guys a little more than just jokes.
And when the time came for them, for the most part, when the time came for them to talk and be their characters and stuff like that, it didn't seem to quite come right out of nowhere. It seemed like it was a little bit more woven in.
For the most part. There are a couple really cheesy scenes where I'm like, really?
Yeah, and there's a couple hammer on the head, like, yeah, we got it, scenes.
Though it did have one of my favorite lines now in any movie ever, which is, what are you talking about? All you guys do is just yell and scream at each other. He's right. We're not friends. We're family. Like that. There's never been a truer statement said.
Yeah, and even like the little bullshit action scene in the opening that's usually for no reason in these movies, it's just like, it's like the Star Trek Into Darkness thing. Okay, the wah opening and stuff. It actually all does tie together.
Gunn takes the cliche, it's the gang back together again, like in the middle of some battle scene, and completely runs wild with it, and it's great because it has nothing to do with the battle going on. That's
my favorite thing. Because
it's all in the background, and what's going on in the foreground is still like. I don't know, like if we should give it away or
we'll save it. But I will say that the first
a great intro.
The first couple minutes, I was almost like not like it was bad, but I was getting a little concerned because I'm like, okay. Young CGI, the gang back together, action scene, just drop you in the middle, and I was
sick of that too. But as
soon as that action scene starts and you see the angle they're going with, it's like, okay, we're good. We're in good hands.
Intro before the action scene was just quick and just goofy and lighthearted enough in the way it was done that I was okay with it. But I did have the same thought. I'm just like, really, we're doing the young. Making the old actor look young again. CGI
I don't remember being bad. I mean, we saw it on IMAX, so it's hard. But it seems like it's time to show off.
There is kind of a. Once again, I feel like some of these Marvel movies do nail it in a certain way, just where there's kind of almost an excuse for it, where you could buy why it doesn't look quite right, why it's got the Uncanny Valley look. I'm like, okay, like maybe I could see this because the whole explanation later. True. I'm like. All right, you might have just gotten away with that, Marvel. Like versus some movies where it's like, no, this is supposed to be real.
You can't tell the difference, can you? And here it's like, there's kind of a reason.
So
this whole, and this whole movie is like a lot of these damn Marvel movies. It's basically doing what Marvel movies do. We've seen this dozens of times now, but they find a unique, fun, interesting way that you're with it and you love these characters, and anytime it cuts to a different one, I'm never like, oh no, not this guy or not this woman. It's like, no, it's like I'm always curious what's going on with them.
And this must be what it felt like, because now what it is missing versus Star Wars is the mystical. There's no really mystical element in any of this.
There's just, we haven't revealed it yet.
But this must be what it felt like. Because we were too young, really. I mean, Star Wars was 1977. I wasn't going to be born yet for a couple of years. It must be what it felt like to watch Star Wars for the first time. And just to have that feeling of, I want to live in this universe. This universe feels real. It feels fun. I want to live in it. And the only one I can think of off the top of my head that did that in at the same time, for us in high school, probably Fifth Element was the only one I could think of where it's just like, this universe feels...
another one.
There might be another one, but this universe feels so complete and real and lived in.
There's a couple. I'll say like the Avatar, not the shitty blue kitties, the Last Airbender world. Growing up?
College. Yeah, I'm talking about to like kind of just experience this like high school age. Like, what did we see in high school outside of Fifth Element that could compete?
Man. Yeah, it is tough. Maybe, like, the most I'm thinking is, like, Roger Rabbit. Yeah. I Want to Live in Toontown.
The 90s were a dead zone for sci-fi for a while, too. So it's, like, what, Independence Day?
Ooh!
Like, yeah. But yeah, so it's like, it's that same feeling I get watching something like Stargate, or in some ways, like, Men in Black was another good example of, like, I just love this universe. Like, even though it was still Earth, it's like this alternate...
Did you say Stargate?
What did I... Yeah, what did I...
I don't know. I just know I'm like, it can't be Stargate.
Oh, sorry.
You're just thinking Kurt Russell still.
No, Men in Black, sorry. It's late. Men in Black is what I meant to say.
It's late, and this movie...
It's an alternate...
It's good, but it's exhausting. Like, when it was done, I actually did like
I do want to talk about that, because that's my issue.
Yeah, and I know exactly where you're going with
it. It is... you could call it Guardians of Excess, because...
This movie would be almost perfect if you chop off 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And just in the climax, like, it's good.
That climax
like,
is where
almost you don't need all that.
Inventiveness and all of the goodwill that he had built up to that point kind of got chucked out a bit. Because the best thing in the climax is Groot... It was Rocket trying to explain to Groot how to work the damn bomb. That scene works just as... I know it was in the trailers everywhere, but that scene works... even better when you see it in context. Like, it's hilarious.
Yeah.
That is the best scene in that damn climax.
I think there was some other stuff.
No, the rest of it was, like, fine, but it's all shit that I'm just like, yes, I sat through Man of Steel, I sat through Batman vs. Superman, I've sat through the Avengers.
When they put in the humor, I thought it worked.
Yeah, when they put in the humor, but that's the thing, that scene where he's explaining the bomb, and Star-Lord keeps, like, going away asking for Scotch tape, and you just hear it. You don't see the battle. You just see Rocket's, like, reactions. It's like, oh, my God. Like,
I love when he just scratches his neck. What a great little detail.
Better than anything you saw in that climax visually. Because like, your imagination
it's very without giving anything away. Come on, that...
Oh no! Okay, there is one
great.
Brilliant. There is one brilliant visual joke. I will say this: better than anything in Pixels. That's no spoilers. Just better than anything in Pixels. So yeah, no. I mean, but there's a little joke like, but you know what I'm saying? It's like we don't have a sky portal, but it may as well have been the second cousin to the sky portal. It just had that same explosion-y rocks in the sky, kind of feeling.
And it
wasn't bad. I'm not saying it was an awful climax. It's better than 90% of the climaxes of this type.
But you could cut it in half.
You could cut it in half,
easily.
And after so many other scenes were so freaking inventive. The Londo's, or was it Londo or Yondo?
I just call him Michael Rooker. Blue guy.
Blue Guy has the best damn scene in the movie.
Yeah.
Him and Rocket. I don't want to give too much away. Let's just say they get their shit back. And it is the way it is timed to the music and the way it goes down. It is one of the most fucking psychotic things I've ever seen. I mean, that scene was psycho, wasn't it? When you really think about what happens in that scene, you're like, holy shit! But but that's the thing. The upbeat music, the ironic music choice, and everything attached to it just makes it so much funnier. And also kind of darker. Like, I just love that whole scene.
I felt like this movie went darker, too, in many ways. Like, and what I like is that I'm almost saying to myself that this is too dark. This is not warranted. But then it does become warranted. Like, all that stuff does come back.
But that scene in the middle, it ends. There's an explosion near the end and everything. But that scene in the middle was a case of it. There wasn't a whole lot going. It's an arrow. Like, that's it. And, I think about the climax, and I'm just like, yeah, it was an alright climax, but it's just like, it's the old Ian Malcolm thing. Just because you could doesn't mean that you should. And it's just like, well, we could blow up whole planets and do this. I'm like, that's fine, but bigger isn't necessarily better. None of that was the best scene in the movie. The best...
No.
Yeah, the best scene in the movie were just more inventive shit that was like on a lower scale and
honestly,
very funny.
Honestly, the stuff I remember the most in the climax is, again, what the characters were going through. Visually, I don't remember that much. I remember a lot of visuals from this movie. Like, this is a gorgeous movie.
But how much of it is Explodey Planet finale?
Not much.
Versus, yeah, see, that's my point, and that's...
Outside of this. And Kurt Russell as the skeleton thing for a second.
Yeah, he goes all Andros from, like, Star Fox. Like,
yeah,
his big
and
face.
Even I'm like, okay, I know I'm watching a movie with, like, a talking raccoon, but you're losing me a little bit. But again, I mean, it's because the characters are so strong and so good, and I just love watching them, and I really legitimately care for all of them.
And that's why it works.
That's what got me through.
Despite all the excess, because this, I swear to God, and it's so weird because if you ask me, I'm like, yeah, I like the movie. But if you ask me, well, how did you feel during it? I would tell you, it is laboriously paced sometimes. There are just times where I'm just like, I like what I'm seeing, but at the same time, Christ, this feels slow. Like, just scenes like... And I don't know how to fix it, because I'm just like, they're not necessarily bad, but I'm just... I felt it way more in this film versus the other one.
See, I felt it more
this is like a 2-hour plus movie.
But I know exactly what you're talking about. There are still scenes where it's like... To me, it's like I almost felt like that, like when they would stop and just talk about what they're going through. I'm kind of feeling like, okay, we're doing this scene. Well, these scenes are usually about 5 to 8 minutes, so hopefully... But then they keep it really short and really tight, so I'm like, oh, okay, so it's like, I'm not bored, but maybe that's it. I always feel like I'm about to be bored, and then it never quite happens, but I'm always prepared for it.
And that is the difference, because in the first one, I never felt I was about to be bored. In this one, I felt like I was about to be bored, wasn't really bored. So as I said, like, if people are gonna thump on me for this, we're just splitting hairs here.
Yeah, this really is nitpicking at this point.
But like, listen to what I said.
We're complaining.
I felt like I was about to be bored.
Yeah, that's
how many blockbuster movies do we say that about? Very few. Almost all of them is just like, no, we just were bored.
Yeah, it is doing kind of the standard movie thing. I mean, again, without giving away, too much, there is, a thing about, an abandoning parent, and which I feel like that's kind of like the new thing being done in a lot of movies and shows, and sort of like the abandoned parents. But who's your real parent? Who's your real family? I feel like it's being done a lot, and that's interesting. I think that's very telling of the times now. That's like, and I think it's a good message to have. But at the same time, as soon as it starts, you are kind of like, oh, we're doing this thing. But the way they do it is so much fun and so interesting and downright surreal. When you find out who Kurt Russell is, I was kind of like, really? We're doing this? Okay. And then it's just so interesting.
I have a major advantage.
Did you
versus
know going
some
in?
people? No, that's the thing. I consider it an advantage not knowing jack shit going in, because I didn't read Guardians of the Galaxy, and like, I know there's some people who read the comics and are just like, it's not the same. I'm like, that's fine. That's not me. I never read them, so I can't sit here and complain about that.
Yeah, so like when
so I didn't know where it was going. I had no idea. When he's
saying like who he is, what he is, and stuff, I'm like, this is so strange, but I'm like, tell me more. Like, this is so bizarre, but it's just, it's still holding me. It's keeping me invested.
This is a fucking pretty movie.
That planet is I could look at every single detail in that planet.
And you know what it is Gunn knows how, or at least his cinematographers know, how to compose a fucking shot. I think of all the, there's some action in here that gets a little sloppy, but for the most part, like, compared to a Michael Bay film or something, it's like, I knew what was going on. I could, like, just stare at whole scenes and just make out little tiny details. Like, every single scene is covered in shit. But unlike other movies where you feel like it's just so much shit they just threw on the screen, this is just so meticulously crafted. Every single frame.
There was a trailer for the next, I'm sure last, Transformers movie. And it just felt like I was
swords now.
It just felt like I was watching a blur. It just nothing. I just watched nothing with a few explosions and music going, oh, important, oh, Transformers is important. Yeah.
But Doug, it's got Anthony Hopkins saying Optimus Prime.
And again, same stupid shit here. But it's like, hey, you want to make Transformers fun? watch Guardians of the Galaxy and do that. You know, remember fun, not Optimus Prime be like, oh, I don't know, I must betray my let's kill them all. It's like, no, this is fun and it has the drama. Surprisingly, there's a lot of legit, like, tug at your heartstring moments in fucking Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
It's gorgeous to look at. It's like if films had an afterglow, it would look like Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Like, you just get kind of swept up and they're like, like, it's just feels great, man. It's like a good round. What can I tell you?
And it's kind of like, it's almost like Middle Earth. It's like, it lets you stay there for a while, you know? I mean, that's always kind of my favorite parts of the Lord of the Rings movies, is when you get to kind of really stay in these beautiful places.
He doesn't shy away from any of the locations, and it's one of the weird sets of films where the production design is just goofy enough that the fact that CGI is never, still to this day, looked 100% quite real, actually helps this film, because it looks like a comic book. It's one of the few films where I'm just like, you know what? I don't care that it's CGI. It's actually helping this universe.
Yeah. There is impressive CGI in this movie, too. There are a lot of times where I'm like,
yeah.
legitimately looks like that raccoon is there.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm not even talking about Rocket. I'm just talking about some of the special effects, space battles and stuff. I'm just like, yeah, you know, if this were another movie, or like a movie where, no, this is supposed to be like photorealistic, I'm supposed to believe it's actually there. Like,
but it has Howard the Duck in it.
Yeah,
you know,
but that's the beauty of it. It has Howard the Duck in it. I'm just like, you know what? I buy this universe. Like, it's more of a Futurama universe than like a normal kind of sci-fi universe where I'm supposed to take it super seriously. And so the CGI, honestly, is one of the rare times where it helps. And you're not going to see me complaining about it.
If I had to pick one other nitpick, again, it is a nitpick, I'm surprised a lot of the times in this movie, the dramatic scenes have surprisingly goofy moments in them. Most of them involving David Hasselhoff. And, like, 90% of them work, but that 10% that doesn't sometimes, I'm thinking particularly, there's one involving his mother, and then this David Hasselhoff joke comes almost immediately after. I'm like, you needed like 10 more seconds before you did that. Like, that was like a huge big reveal, and then suddenly you have this David Hasselhoff joke.
Honestly, that didn't bother me much, just because I felt like the tone of this got set up in the first film is so goofy for the most part, for something that opened with cancer.
Yeah.
But the rest of it was so goofy that I feel that without interjecting some humor and the Marvel haha moments, it starts to feel like on a very special episode of Full House.
No, and I'm actually very impressed
like,
how
let's
they
whip
did
out the soft guitar music and have a moment. So I'm kind of glad that they kind of kept it
No,
jokey.
I am too. It's
like,
just those one or two times where I'm like, the timing was just like a hint off, you know? But again, I feel like I'm really nitpicking with that. And I guess, I mean, without giving away too much, the villain would be great if they didn't do this plan in every other Marvel movie. It's like I would actually love this villain if it wasn't and going to consume/destroy because it is, I'm too smart for my own good, the greater purpose, some ethical bullshit. Good. Yeah, and it's just like, I would love this.
It's another case where if this were a villain from 20 years ago,
I'd be like, oh my god, that's profound.
If this film were made in 1980, where it starts, then this would have been an amazing villain.
Yeah,
but now
but it's Ultron, it's, you know, Loki, it's all those, you know, all those things. So that gets a little, but again, I think a lot of things from like a storytelling perspective, you've seen a million times in these Marvel movies, but it's done with these characters, with these great visuals, and with just this bizarre storytelling that's unique and fun and finds different points of view.
And I just realized this while watching this movie, because now they're owned by Disney. But this is what Disney movies used to be, like the live action films, where it's like, yeah, there's kind of a standard formula. Yeah, they're kind of meant for everybody. And the animated films. When I think about how Disney had a quality to the live action films in the old days, you know, I feel like this is like, strangely enough, by grabbing Marvel, this is a return to that. It's like, yeah, you're going to see kind of a set formula. But the mouse will be damned if you're not entertained, because he wants your money. Fork it over! are. So, you're gonna get a fun ride pretty much no matter what. And that's what old, like, live-action Disney movies like, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, Mary Poppins, Bedknobs and Broomsticks. Like,
Mary Poppins, y'all!
Yeah, Mary Poppins, y'all! I'm Mary Poppins! Yeah, that's what they used to be. It's like funny. This is the modern equivalent of it. This is the new set of live-action Disney movies. Is the Marvel films. Like we're too early on Star Wars to know if it's going to be the case there. We've only had 2, so but at least with Marvel now we've got this long, steady stream where it's like I'm trying to think. There've been some bad ones, but I haven't come out of it going, oh, I loathed that film to the point that, like, it's just more like Iron Man 2. It's like, I can't remember that damn film to say.
Yeah, the Thor 2 for me, probably.
But I didn't, but I'm trying to think if there was a Marvel film, Disney Marvel one yet that I've come out of it. I was like, fucking hate that movie! Go to hell!
Yeah,
like, not really. It's just more like, it was kind of lame.
Yeah,
it doesn't hit an emotion, so you just kind of leave and forget.
Yeah, even Iron Man 2 didn't make me angry. I was just like, oh, well, I wish a lot more cool stuff happened.
Yeah, I just like left the theater like, what happened? Mickey Rourke had an electron whip. That's all I remember. And there was a talking parrot or something.
And there's a detail I just gotta give this. Well, so many credits I gotta give this movie. First of all, they know how to use a Cat Stevens song. I mean, they really know how to use it, and they know how to use all the songs that they use. But a detail that they hit upon that I'm just like, wow, yeah, I haven't even thought about this in years. They have these ships. This is actually very clever to keep the PG-13 rating. All these ships are flying by and they're shooting, but they're all, they're being controlled.
Drones.
Yeah, they're drones, and all these people are playing, and they have arcade sounds.
That was the beauty. That I could not stop laughing during that scene because of those arcade sounds.
But the detail they got is that because, there's not really arcades anymore. But when we were growing up, they had these arcades, and there was always the big game. It was like, Mortal Kombat 2 or Street Fighter 2, and
there was always the expert too.
Yeah, and
people would crowd around the expert, watching them do their thing.
And they would watch them do their thing
until they lost.
Until they lost, it was like hack.
And then this movie did it, and they had the arcade. It was like Pac-Man sound effects going on too.
I'm waiting for them like just
that
put
was
the
one of my favorite.
Like, I'm next.
That was one of my favorite scenes of the movie. That I'm just like, and it made me realize I'm like, holy shit! Can you imagine if America had that ability? That would be scary as fuck. It's like, no, it's just like an arcade game. You get a whole group of like Gen Xers and millennials just like blowing the shit out of nations with our little we're halfway there. We got drones, man.
Yeah, I was gonna say you could argue we kind of did that already in some respects.
Well, we're halfway there, but on the scale you saw with this thing, everybody in the same room, like this giant, I was like, wow, that is both insanely hilarious and a dark portent of things to come.
Yeah, it could be.
But yeah, that was amazing.
Drax, I think, got funnier.
Drax is still funny. Rocket's great. Oh my god! So in the middle of the movie, my wife turns to me and says, "I want a baby Groot," and I'm just like, "Who doesn't?"
Groot is like Baby Groot is like the new Gollum.
Yeah,
everyone just want to be like, I want to hug you.
yeah, but I think we all like him better than Gollum.
What? Yeah, I want to hug Baby Groot, and I want to put Gollum like in a shelter to get food or something like that. But I still want to direct him to the shelter.
Baby Groot is amazing. Gamora's got some great scenes.
Good. It will be interesting setup with the sister. Yeah. I actually even forgot she had a sister. I know she was.
I wasn't expecting her really to come back. So that was okay, that's interesting.
The romance between her and Pratt, I was kind of like, yeah.
Okay. The rumor is the third one's going to be more Gamora based. If this one was more Star-Lord based, so. I'd be interested to see that because
is this one more Star-Lord? I mean, it's like I feel like they all get equal screen time.
They all get equal screen time, but it's all anchoring on him though, because it's his search for his father that basically affects everything else around them. So, I mean, I don't know, but I did like the way they did kind of connect that. All of those family kind of longings and
sometimes a little too much on the head. But
I felt like it kind of all connected together better than I thought it was going to.
Yeah,
I'm just like, I was like, really, I expected it not really to connect at all. I thought it was going to be some side stories and then Star-Lord, and I'm like, yeah, that's weird. This all kind of. Like, just barely. Like, it was a little rough, but I'm like, no, you actually kind of tied it together.
I was really...
For the guy who helped write Scooby-Doo, I'm impressed.
I was really expecting the same thing. Like, okay, here's all these side things, and they're fun, but this is just going to be a side thing. This is just going to be, okay, and then they're going to come together at the end for the climax or something like that. But it's like they are... without you kind of weaving, it's a very clumsy web, but it is still a web. And it is like, okay, that does come together.
I just like, because my wife watches Gilmore Girls, so Sean Gunn, the director's brother, like, playing...
I knew that had to be somebody's, like, relation to him, so who is...
Playing Yando's, he was, I don't know if he's second in command, but he was... one of Yando's friends, basically.
Oh, okay.
So you know what I'm talking about. I don't want to give too many spoilers away, but my wife and I were just laughing because I like to think that it's the same character he plays on Gilmore Girls, and that he's just like some alien hanging out in Stars Hollow. like my wife and I were working on this on the way home. This whole backstory for how this all connects to the Marvel universe, and best, like hands down. Best.
Not gonna top it.
No, I don't know how you top it. Best Stan Lee cameo ever.
I don't know what you're gonna do.
If you know the comics and you know what it's referencing,
it's brilliant.
I don't know. I don't think you can top it. I'm like, this. It explains everything. I'm like, there you go.
It's already kind of what people were talking about, but then have it clarified, and it's just right there.
It's not insanely clever in the way because like everybody's had.
But they did it. They did
But they actually did it and put it in a movie and used Stan Lee as the cameo, and I'm like, freaking brilliant, man. Like,
and again, just the comedic timing of it, going through, just traveling, all this crazy shit is flying by you, and then suddenly there's this, and it's just like, yeah, that's great.
The colors, the action for the most part, he's got a keen eye for like kinetic energy in a shot. Like, he moves the camera sometimes like Peter Jackson does. Peter Jackson loved these big sweeping shots that would make you a little dizzy, but not because it's shaky cam, because like, no, you're gonna see a big sweeping shot, we're gonna go up, we're gonna go down, and like
there's a 3D...
Gunn does the same thing, and like for the most part I enjoy it. There was a few sloppy shots where I'm like, okay, I've seen this in every other action movie, but there were some impressive shots where I'm like, this is amazing.
I think he knows that the sets and the visuals and stuff it can't just stop there. It has to be composed nice too. We get this ship that looks cool at first. It's these weird white circles and spheres and curves and stuff like that, and that looks neat. But most filmmakers would just say, okay, well, we got this cool set. We don't need to go overboard and stuff like that. But you're there for a while, so he will get these interesting shots and he will get these nice angles. And there's one thing they do with the 3D. We saw this in 3D. And it's decent. It's decent 3D.
Don't fucking bother.
Okay. After seeing the Star Wars trailer and the Transformers trailer, where it just looked like there was almost no 3D at all, it's like, I thought this was decent 3D. Not great, but okay.
It's such a bright, colorful movie. Let's put these dark glasses on, and then we had to sit at an angle in the IMAX, so I was just getting a headache. I started closing one eye for a while, just...
I do forget, you were like 2 seats over, so you probably got less of it.
Yeah, we were on the very far... It was like assigned seating, and we got the tickets a little later, so we were on the very far left, and I'm just like trying to watch it, just getting a headache, like... Ugh.
But there was one thing they did I thought was very clever. Cause this is a trick, maybe you've noticed, where they'll have the, when it goes to the big action scenes, they'll get rid of the black bars on top and make it seem bigger. But sometimes what they'll do is that they'll have the black bars, and the 3D will go beyond the black bars. Like, if some dust is flying, it'll go beyond the black bars. Okay, that's been done. Honestly, it's surprisingly not that impressive. You think it'd be more wow, but it's usually not. But they did one that was very impressive, where it was the blue guy's ship, I think after it got taken over, and it's flying, it's in the black bars, and then flies outside the black bars and takes up the whole ship and transitions you into the IMAX shot. I thought that was brilliant.
I didn't even notice, just because I don't know. 3D to me is distracting. I think you could probably see it not in 3D and be fine, but I didn't even notice that because I was just getting a headache.
That's the one shot that I said, okay, that was a really clever 3D trick.
They cremate somebody in space, basically. Like a little Viking funeral type thing and everything, and the ashes like scatter and just like go right in your face. I'm like, that's a lovely thought in 3D things. Like, somebody's like fiery ashes, like I just want to be like, So I don't know. But
I agree you don't need to see it in 3D, but it is good 3D. But it's not great. It's not saying, no, you absolutely need to see it. I think it's good.
the gold, as weird as it is, the gold standards for me are still Avatar. Like, you can say what you want about the movie. I thought the 3D was great. And of all things, still How to Train Your Dragon.
And Hugo. Yeah, Hugo I thought was pretty
Hugo was pretty
good.
yeah, so this, I didn't think this was anywhere near like that.
No, but it's not bad. It's decent. I don't think it's great. But the movie is great. I love the movie.
Yeah, no, is it excess? Sure. Are there parts where the pacing's really kind of laborious? Sure. Did I care? No. Like, I don't know. And you know what? It reminds me of Jurassic Park, I think, is always a great example. Like, if you give me, like, 5 minutes, I could give you 100 things wrong with Jurassic Park. Mm-hmm. Like, and it's true. There's, like, that is not a perfect movie. There are 100 things wrong.
Yeah, we reviewed it and made fun of it.
It's still the movie I saw the most in theaters. Yeah. I still will throw it on anytime and be immensely entertained. I feel like this is the same thing. It's like, even though there's issues with this, I am immensely entertained.
Yeah.
More so than even in the majority of Marvel movies.
Yeah, I really loved it. I saw the first one once.
I still like both.
Have fun. I'd be more than happy to watch this a couple times.
Now, I don't know. I might put this one for me. I'm sure this is sacrilege to those Avengers fans out there, but I would put this one on the same level as Avengers. Mm. But I like the first Guardians of the Galaxy more than the Avengers.
I'm curious if fans are gonna like this one more or the first one more. I can't see many people getting like upset at this one unless there's some sort of major detail they changed from the comic. But most people don't even know the comics of Guardians of the Galaxy going.
I liked the characters in this more. There was definitely a lot more character development. I felt like I knew them better, and that was good. The sacrifice was it was not as haha whiz bang entertaining. Like, you had to sit down and actually listen to these characters talk. And sometimes it works, and there are other times where I'm just like, I'll whip out my cell phone and see what time it is. Like, so, but I still liked it. So I don't know. It's like maybe apples and oranges. I don't know if one's better than the other, but you know, because the first one didn't have a lot of character. Everybody goes with Groot. What the fuck is his character?
Yeah.
You know, it was like everybody loves Groot, and that's the one with probably the least character. Like,
yeah, it is weird. Groot. It's like this movie does technically kind of have the same problems, just kind of in slightly different ways. I think you're either going to gravitate towards one or the other. Because everything you're saying, it's like, man, that's like exactly what I thought of the first one. Just like, man, it seems a little clunky, and that came out of nowhere, and there's times where there's talking you don't need it. But it's like, what you're saying here, it's like, I know you're right about that with this one.
If you asked me which one had more depth and meaning to it, I would say this one, hands down. I mean, not even like, I wouldn't have to think about it. I'm like, oh, of course this one. What are you, stupid? Like, but if you ask me which one I would probably rather just throw on any time of day, what I'd be more likely to go to, probably the first one.
Yeah, so I like this one better. They're both fun. They're both incredibly enjoyable. So, yeah, goddamn Marvel. What the hell? It's
Fingers
so
crossed.
weird.
Fingers crossed on Wonder Woman, that's all I gotta say.
Yeah, man, it's just so weird. It's like we've never seen a studio hit, I mean, just this hard, this good, this consistently, and with such a similar formula. We were saying, yeah, we know this formula, but it's still so entertaining and so much fun, and I look forward to them. There wasn't even that much,
It's almost like they're what DC does on television.
well, you know what's funny too? Just real quick, because there's talk about, I think like the Wonder Woman movie. They're saying, well, it's not getting as much advertising as it should, and that now it still has like a month. This I felt that first trailer was huge, and then I don't know, maybe because we don't have cable anymore, we got rid of it. Like I haven't seen that much of it, and I totally forgot it was coming out this week.
I have like online, and
okay, because I haven't seen that much of it. But when we went to the theater, I mean, it was sold out. I mean, it jam-packed. So maybe it is one of those things, and the DC movies are hits. You know, they're all hits, so maybe there's kind of this idea that's like, well, we don't need to as much or as hard, because it's like you just know people are going to go see it.
I don't know, when it comes to the whole Wonder Woman advertising thing, I'm just always like, who knows, because it's WB and there's such a shit show. You know, I think that we need to make that distinction a little, like we always say DC, but really this is a WB problem.
I have no idea.
I think when it comes to advertising, like, I don't know. I feel like whatever the fuck is going on over there, like, it ain't good. and we suffer because of it. So that's why we get studio notes for Suicide Squad, wrecking that movie. And,
honestly, the trailers for the DC movies always look good. Wonder Woman looks good. That's my concern. It's like, oh, the other trailers look good too. So, ears open.
Well, no, I'm saying more the lack of advertising. Well, this is the same studio that Iron Giant they didn't promote at all. It's universally regarded as one of the great... And Batman Mask of the Phantasm, one of the greatest Batman movies of all time. They didn't promote... So, who knows? It's WB. They suck. I don't know what to say.
I don't mind WB. I actually like him a great deal. But with like any studio.
Well, see, now you know. We've always been accused of like taking money from Disney. There you go. Apparently WB is paying you.
Yeah, I like him fine. Honestly, okay, if there is like money being taken from Disney, I would love if that was the case, because this would be the easiest job. It's like, just praise these movies that are already great.
WB has been like, as a studio, they've made some great films. My problem is whatever the studio culture is, and when it comes to promoting films and stuff, I don't know what the hell goes on over there.
But I guess when you think like the Matrix movies too and stuff like that, like it's a little weird.
Yeah, I feel like they, for some reason, they're always just
even the Hobbit movies. That's weird that they did 3 Hobbit movies.
The 3 Hobbit movies, like you could say the same like how Sony and Fox have handled their comic book franchises too. Like it's not so much Marvel, DC. It's the studio that owns them, and I don't know if it's just Disney's experience in this arena, like. Formulaic.
Disney somewhere got an overhaul, because they used to be like, aside from
Disney.
Pixar,
Disney in the 80s.
They were death.
Yeah. Oh no, they were a shit show, and then they were a shit show again after later Eisner years. Yeah, when it went to direct to
going away and stuff. Yeah, but now they're just like crazy.
But who knows? Because none of these reboots have been. That's the weird thing. If it's an actual Disney property that Disney owns, it's been crappy lately. But if it's something that they bought somewhere else, like Marvel or Star Wars, it's been pretty decent. So I don't know.
I don't know, like the Zootopias and the Frozens and the Moana.
No. But those are original ideas. I'm talking about their old Disney properties that they're recycling.
No, those are shit.
Yeah. If
Disney was paying me, you would not hear me saying what I've said about like Jungle Book, Beauty and the Beast, Maleficent, and stuff like that.
We got angry calls. Shut up! Shut up! You fuckers have to get down!
If I had a middle finger, I'd give it to you!
I know where you live if you ever want to see your wife again! Honey, where'd she go?
Yeah. Man, this is a weird detour that we got.
It's what can I say? It's late, so
yeah, we did get out of a very weird but very good movie.
Yeah, no, and that is the thing, and then it's exhausting. Almost, even the end credits were fun.
Yeah,
the
I
weird
have no
80s
idea
thing going.
All the little Easter eggs or what you have
in the credits.
Yeah, the little things that they have at the end. It's like, I don't know what any of that is. I'm happy to see Stallone's gonna be in a Marvel movie, but I don't know what that group is or that team is. I don't know what
I didn't either.
I don't know what that gold lady was talking about.
The problem is we're now stretching into parts of the Marvel universe that I have
I
either never read to begin with or have completely forgotten, because I haven't opened up a comic book since 1995. So
but
see, that's the weird thing. Like, I'm
you get excited
and I'm just like, but it makes it more fun for me.
Yeah, now it'll be exciting to discover it. I mean, they've been hitting some pretty consistent hits.
And if you know who it is, and you're just like, yay!
Great.
Good for you.
But we get to discover it, so we'll just
I know the thing!
You did it! So, that's about it. Go check it out. It's a lot of fun.
It was a good movie.
If you like the first one, you'll probably like this one.
He's in the A category, I'm in the B, but honestly, a movie that's anything higher than a B- nowadays may as well be like the greatest thing on the planet to me. So
definitely go check it out.